You're looking at the 2020 Toyota RAV4 TRD Off-Road. The TRD Off-Road trim is brand new for the 2020 model year, and in this video I want to share with you my personal likes and dislikes about the car so that you'll have a better idea before you visit the dealership, before you take it for a test drive, and before you buy. So the TRD Off-Road trim builds on what you already get in the Adventure grade. So just like the Adventure grade, you'll find the larger over fenders, giving the crossover a more rugged look. You'll also get the high-rise roof rails, more aggressive looking front bumper, and an available ice edge colored roof, giving it this two-toned look. The TRD Off-Road, as well as the Adventure grade, has the greater towing capacity at up to 3,500 pounds. And if you look down below, you'll also find that this has higher ground clearance at 8.6 inches. That's 0.2 inches more compared to the other trims. And of course, you'll also have the all-wheel drive system, which means that this has the multi-terrain select system, which means that you can change your levels of traction in the wheels depending on the road surface. So you have mud, normal, and also rock and dirt settings. And just for good comparison, I've also done a review on the 2019 model year with the limited trim. So if you're interested in seeing that video, please click the link up here. But in terms of the exterior, you could see very subtle differences between the TRD Off-Road and also the limited. As for what's unique in the TRD package, you'll get special shocks that's been revalved and retuned so that it's more off-road focused. You'll also find these red coil springs just so it makes it look more unique. And that's a common theme with the TRD Off-Road package, is that you'll see a lot of red lettering and red stitching everywhere. So there's red lettering on the all-weather floor mats, there's red stitching on the dash, red trim pieces all in the interior, and there's also red TRD lettering on the headrest, just to remind you that this is a little bit more special than the rest. And also exclusive for the TRD Off-Road package, you'll find these matte black color 6-spoke wheels. And the best part of these wheels is that they're flow-formed wheels, which means that they're lightweight but also very strong. Let's discuss wheel manufacturing for a minute, because these wheels are actually pretty special. Generally, there's 3 ways of making a wheel. There's casting, there's flow forming, and there's forging. Now, casting usually is the cheapest way of making a wheel, but it's also the weakest wheel. Then there's also forging, which is on the other end of the spectrum. It's the most expensive way of making a wheel, but also results in a very high-strength wheel. Flow forming is somewhere in between. Basically, they use very high forces to help form and extrude the barrel of the wheel. Now, if you look at the wheel at the very atomic level, you'll find that the metals are much more packed and much more dense. So therefore, they could get away with using less material and also getting a very high strength wheel. Now, if you look at the aftermarket wheels, you'll find that flow formed wheels are generally about 5 to 10 pounds lighter than OEM wheels. That's per wheel. So overall, you'll have less unsprung weight, less rotational mass, and you'll also have a wheel that's more pothole damage resistant. So those are all very good things for cars and SUVs. And it's awesome that Toyota has included this for the TRD Off-Road trim. And wrapped around the wheels are these Falcon Wild Peak all-terrain tires. They're especially good for driving through snow, dirt, and mud. And despite what these aggressive-looking treads may suggest, I didn't really notice a lot of road noise while driving on the highway. And all those features are basically what's unique about the TRD Off-Road trim. The rest of the features can be had in other RAV4s, either standard or as an option. Let's discuss the interior at this point, and just as a side note, the one that I'm sitting in is basically the fully loaded version of the RAV4 TRD Off-Road, because this has the technology package, this has the premium audio, and it also has the cold weather package. The price total with delivery fees comes in at $41,385. A very good upgrade for the 2020 model year is better multimedia. So if you're an Android user, you can now rejoice in the fact that you could use Android Auto in the 2020 RAV4s. So this is in addition to the Apple CarPlay and Amazon Alexa. The amount of tech in here is pretty impressive, starting with the screen, which is an 8-inch touchscreen. That's a decent size, and it's also presented at a nice angle so that you don't get a lot of glare from around you. There is also a digital rear view mirror in here, so that if you have a lot of stuff in the second row, like if you have balloons or something, you can toggle this and it'll show you an image from the backup camera. There's also a 360-degree bird's eye view camera angle, which is super helpful when you're parking. You can even see where your wheels are, which is really nice when you're driving through an off-road trail. I also like that there's a wireless charger in here, and there's plenty of USB ports everywhere within this car so that you can charge up anytime you please. I also like the center console because it's nice and simple, and all the controls are segregated. So up here are all of your infotainment controls. down here, all your HVAC controls. There's also physical heated and ventilated seat buttons, which is always nice. And to the left of the shifter, you'll find your multi-terrain select system and your hill assist control. Your different drive mode buttons are also here. So you have your eco, normal, and sport. That basically just changes how your transmission behaves. So just so you know, there are two normals here. One is for the drive mode and the other one is for your all-wheel drive control. So don't get confused by that. You'll also find some buttons on the left-hand side of the dash here, and I like that there's an automatic high beam setting button, which is very simple. There's also a heated steering wheel in here, but just a minor complaint. It's more of a heated half of a steering wheel, so the top and bottom quadrants aren't heated. It's only in the sections where you normally hold on to the steering wheel. Looking ahead, there's a 7-inch decently sized digital instrument cluster, which can display lots of information like what your all-wheel drive system is doing, miles per gallon, and all your safety systems, etc., etc. As for the second row, it has decent leg and headroom. There's USB ports back here, and it has the usual 60-40 split. And for the off-road trim that I'm sitting in, and when you fold the second row down, they've even extended the floor mats so that it covers the backrest of the second row seats. So what is it like to drive? It's fine. This has more power than the competition, but it's not class leading. Power-wise, it has a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, making 203 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque, which is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission that behaves pretty nicely. Altogether, it's rated at 25 city, 32 highway, and 27 combined. Now that's very decent numbers considering that this is an all-wheel drive vehicle. Now I got a feeling that's got a lot to do with their driveline disconnect system, which means that the system will stop sending power to the back wheels if it's not necessary. So essentially this is functioning like a front-wheel drive vehicle. Now I've driven the 2019 RAV4 Limited like I mentioned before, and that car actually heard the system functioning and it was producing a lot of unwanted and strange noises. So for the 2020 model year, I actually haven't heard any of those sounds, so hopefully this issue has been fixed. The engine is a bit noisy though, which is I guess okay in a TRD off-road trim because this has a more rugged look and feel, but if I was sitting in the limited trim, the more luxurious trim, I'd find that a bit more annoying. But I do like this engine's D4S system, which means that it has both port injection and direct injection. Now it has port injection, which means that it's going to have better long-term reliability because you won't have as much carbon buildup on your intake valves. And it also has direct injection, which means that you'll have a much more efficient combustion, giving you more power and better efficiency. Ride-wise, it's quite decent. Driving through this dirt trail, you can feel the benefit of the revalved TRD tuned shocks, and it's also not harsh for highway driving. Overall, I like it and I recommend it. Safety-wise, this comes with the Toyota Safety Sense 2.0, which means that it has the pre-collision systems, adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, and with the TRD off-road trim, it comes standard with the blind spot monitoring system and also rear cross traffic alert. So if you've made it this far, I want to thank you so much for your attention. If you liked this video or found it somewhat entertaining, please consider hitting that like button down below. Also hit that subscribe button and then hit the notification bell so that you can get notified anytime we make a new video. I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll wrap up this video right here. This has been the 2020 Toyota RAV4 TRD Off-Road. My name is Hanson and I will see you next time.